safe ride home. You could call your favorite cab company or 1-888 taxi guy, or you could use the Arrive Alive smartphone app to help you choose your ride. Be it a friend, transit, or taxi, getting home safely is app easy. Now available for iOS and Android devices. Visit arrivealive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive. Drive sober.
When you give a part of yourself through Canadian Blood Services, your donation could go on to captivate a country, fuel the future, be the best dad, or support cultures to thrive. Because when you donate through Canadian Blood Services, you don't just make a difference, you make all the difference. Join Canada's Lifeline today at blood.ca.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Good evening, everybody. How are you getting on tonight? It's your boy DC. No, not Carlton Banks from Fresh Prince. I'm just trying to impress you. Is it working? Don't answer that. Tonight we have a wicked show lined up, and I can't wait for you guys to hang out because we're talking art and biz all evening long. It starts off with the incredible Bob Davis, who helps head up VOWR, 100 years in radio, the history and the milestones you will not believe. And then we're talking about Josh Lunden and Braedon King, two leaders in the business game, one Sonopay, one They're Creative, both members of the Business Association of Newfoundland and Labrador, celebrating 40 years. It's Anniversary City up in here tonight. And finally, the incredible Bob Hallett from Terra Productions, talking all about the many exciting shows and ventures of that company, including the hottest topic in the city, the revitalization of the Majestic Theatre with Theatre Hill Bar and Cafe below. You're not going to want to believe the details we're going to spill on Out of the Fog tonight. Get a cup of something, come on back, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. It is Out of the Fog, third time's the charm. Inside audiences know only. I am joined to my left by Bob, the man, music maker. So many things we're going to talk about today. But first, how are you?
Good, Donnie. How are you making out?
The sweater.
Thank you very much.
It's all fashion with you.
Thanks to Mandy Lee.
Yes, exactly. Mandy Lee.
Dockworth Street, right above the ship, for everybody who knows what a ship is.
Exactly right. Get down, check her out. Amazing stuff, such as this. And what is VOWR, in case you didn't know?
Well, it's a radio station that's been around for almost 100 years.
But who's counting?
Well, we are.
You are, yeah. That's incredible. I mean, what lasts 100 years? Not much.
Yeah. July the 20th, 1924.
The first signal went
broadcast.
out. Wow.
And we're one of the oldest radio stations in the world.
Now that is some major claims that you're getting at here now.
Yeah, and we think that we have one of the longest running radio programs in the world. There may be one in Texas, I think, that's a couple of months before us, but started out in 1924 with Reverend Joyce, a Methodist minister.
Yes.
And he wanted to get the church services out to people who couldn't make it to church.
What an innovator.
Yeah, so the technology at the time was all cutting edge. And it was a radio transmitter of sorts that was attached to telephone lines.
Wow.
And you would pick up the telephone and listen to the radio.
Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. And it evolved and evolved and evolved.
That's a lot of history.
Yeah. It was originally called 8WMC.
Oh.
8 Wesley Methodist Church.
Oh, wow.
And then in the 30s, with the World Convention on radio and stuff like that, all the Newfoundland, which was an independent country, as you know,
that's right,
were given the V configuration. So does VOCM, VOAR, and of course us.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're still rocking.
We're still rocking indeed, and more popular than ever.
Big time. You know, the numbers are continue to do this kind of thing, and we have listeners all over the world. And by the way, you can reach us on 800 AM, Rogers 945,
don't you know,
Bell 756, and VOWR.org.
I mean, there's too many ways to get at you, really.
Well, it's the way of the world, right?
You're making it too easy.
We have a lot of listeners.
Well, I know that, and it's funny because that's what's on at my family home at all times.
There you go.
So I grew up in it myself, but no, I'm not 100.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Neither am I, but I'm closer than you are.
I think we're both living the adult game here. Let's leave it there. So I want to ask you, when it comes to the work that needs to go in to make VOWR do its thing, it takes a village, am I right?
You got it. We've got about 55 volunteers, and half of them are on-air personalities.
Wow.
And then we have a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes people, board members, a library team that digitize music, people that do traffic and public service announcements, keep the place clean, and then a few troublemakers like me.
Yeah. Speaking of troublemakers like you, how did you get involved with VOWR in the first place?
Well, my dad was on the board in the early 60s, and I was always noodling around the station helping out with fundraising and turkey teas and radio auctions and stuff like that, and kind of drifted away. It was his gig, not mine.
Right.
And then a couple of years ago, I had a call with one of my friends and said, you know, we got a couple of board positions available, and based upon your experience with music and business, would you like to consider it? And I said, sure, love to.
Wow.
And it's been all downhill ever since.
Exactly right. Now, you know, creativity, art, and business is like chewing nuts and gum at the same time.
Yeah.
So how do you choke it down?
Well, you can do that, right?
Yes.
Right. There's a way of doing that, right? So, you know, me personally, I look at some of the deficiencies in the operations, and I just kind of like massage a little bit here and a little bit there, and
Yeah.
make things go, right?
A few tips, a few tricks.
Yeah, try to, yeah.
What's one of your most proud moments of the countless hours that you have put into VOWR?
Well, sustainability, first of all. You know, we live primarily on donations from our listeners. And we've got, as a matter of fact, good segue, October is fundraising month.
Oh!
So we're looking for your help.
Boom.
Please help.
Love it.
You can go to VOWR.org and make a donation, or you can send it to us in an e-transfer to manager@VOWR.org. And we have a secure mailbox at the front door at 101 Patrick Street. And you can drop it in there, or
Get a carrier pigeon on the go, just
can be
fly
done.
it on
We'll
over.
take it. We'll take it.
Why not?
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to that location, beautiful, historic, west end of downtown vibes, I mean, will VOWR always be in the place where it's always been? Or has it
for
moved
sure.
around?
And if you can compare what we're doing with, say, established radio stations,
Right.
You know, we've got a huge facility, and now it's dated, obviously,
Sure.
but it was made rock solid, probably over-engineered in a couple of ways, but still, you know, we've got a library of 50,000 vinyl albums and cassettes, and you know, all kinds of different things, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, totally.
You know, as we're hanging out talking about VOWR and the institution that it is, which predates Confederation, when you think about everything that is going into VOWR and the growth in its exposure, and now it's even a cult classic on the merch side, thanks to Mandy, it just seems like more and more is happening for VOWR. And so I want to ask you if you could tell people at home watching this, how can they engage with VOWR and what can they expect? Because there might be some people watching tonight who do not know about the programming and what VOWR has to offer. So why don't you tell them?
Well, we've got, it's an easy listening radio station. We have rock. It's not metal, but it's rock. And we have very few corporate sponsors, we'll call it.
Right.
Not necessarily by choice, but by mishap. And we rely primarily on donations from our listeners.
Yeah, it's amazing. And when it comes to easy listening, I mean, you're right. It's as wide as it is long in
Totally.
terms of the variety of music that
everything
gets
goes.
played. And of course, local has a place in that tapestry as well.
Big time, big time. We've got a Monday night show of Newfound Memories, which is Zach Snow does it.
Yeah, great guy.
And yeah, he's got all the local stuff, and it's been produced and stuff. And then we have all kinds of different genres of different things, right?
I want to thank you because when it comes to volunteerism, which as you know is near and dear to my heart, whenever I see people out there moving, shaking, and money making for other entities besides their own personal benefit, that turns me on. So I'm so thankful that you and all the volunteers at VOWR have brought this institution to 100 years, and here's to 100 more, am I right?
You got it.
I love it. Guys, check out VOWR, the programming, and thank you to the amazing people who helped make it happen. This is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. Well, if there's one thing I love, it's a drop of business, you know? And as an artist in business, that's a whole other story. But I'm joined by two gentlemen on my left who know all about how to make the business happen. Braedon King, what are you at?
This is it, man. Happy to be here yet again,
yes.
making the business happen day by day.
Yes. Josh Lunden, so great to see you. First time on the couch?
First time. Thank you for having me.
Time flies, man, when you're not here, but here you are.
That's right.
So guys, I want to talk about the Business Association of Newfoundland and Labrador. How many years is this incredible organization celebrating?
So we are coming up to our 40th anniversary since 1983.
Wow.
Big event coming, October 20th.
Yeah.
We use these quarterly events to attract new members. So we plan to have a great speaker to come in and meet all of us along with our guests.
Right.
And it's going to be a great event.
Very cool. And I will throw out on your behalf the one and only Kevin Casey, marketing communications maverick, business owner. We can go on all day. Our boy just hit his 10K fundraising for Home Again Furniture Bank. They were on last week on the show. And Kevin's coming to talk about his new book, Unselling, which you guys want to be checking that book out for sure, or try to get your way into this upcoming event. And when is this happening?
So this is Friday, October 20th at Loose Tie.
That's right.
It's going to start at 12 and roughly around 1:30, but we're all going to gather around 11:30. We've got half an hour of networking like we usually do there.
Yep.
Then we're going to speak. We're going to celebrate our 40th anniversary.
Yep.
Call out a few members, founders. Kevin's going to do his thing and speak to all of us.
Yep.
And then we'll have a few draw prizes for all of our guests that are going to attend.
I got a few draws. You thought of everything. So may I say that when it comes to the Business Association and 40 years, that's a lot. But in addition, this event next week, it's part of Small Business Week. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah, that's the timing of it all. Yeah.
That's amazing. Braedon, I'm going to turn it to you for a moment. As an incredible creator, their media, your own brand, clothing line, framing of your productions. I mean, we're not going to bore you guys talking about all the businesses that Braedon has on the go, but I do want to ask you, what led you to joining the association?
I think I was just trying to find another valuable resource as a young business owner who maybe is starting to see a plateau in how far I can climb and how much I can learn. So I think joining a network like this is something that I can use as a resource to learn from other people. And I mean, with business there comes challenges, and overcoming those challenges can look the same across all different industries. So it's really interesting to see all the different people get together and find solutions and be able to talk about your business, which leads me into talking about how it's non-compete as well. So obviously, you can't just talk to anyone about your business and the issues you might be having with your business. But in this association, you can feel so comfortable to talk to people about those kind of issues and resolve things together and learn. So it's just been a really valuable resource for me to help grow my businesses further.
That's amazing. And back to you, Josh. You're not just the president of the association. You also lead your brand that you work with, which is SonaPay, which so many folks are grabbing on to those sexy payment tech tools. And I'm sure you have a lot to offer under the umbrella of what you do with SonaPay. But when it comes to the association, outside of the special event you mentioned earlier, the usual luncheons, to Braedon's point, is a chance for business owners and leaders of companies to connect, and that is pretty important. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah, and I mean our format is like Braedon mentioned. We're going to connect at our meetings. We're going to talk amongst each other, our strengths, our weaknesses. How can we help? What are you dealing with right now? What did you deal with in the past that maybe I can lend a hand on?
Right.
Then we're going to have an internal speaker, so our members all get a chance to speak to the group about maybe what I do, what you do, and say the stuff that's going to lead them to ask more questions, so we all can learn from each other. Then we have an external speaker, Kevin being an example. We've had a lot of other great speakers over the past few years, and that's where the value comes from. You're going to get a different look every time we meet. And it's going to be a similar group that grows. We'll say every week we're getting new members that are looking to come on board. So it's been a great time.
That's amazing. And like you said earlier on, 40 years. And the association was started, and full transparency, I'm a proud member of this association as well. These are buddies of mine, and Josh and I became good buds through the association, which is back to my point. Connection and loneliness in the arena of business is no joke. If you are leading your day-to-day, if you own your own, the chances are you're looking around life come Thursday and saying, does anyone understand what I'm dealing with on a day-to-day level? Well, this room is full of those people, and to your point earlier, having a non-compete allows you to feel more comfortable in the room. I want to ask you a question. Outside of the luncheons, do we get together? What do you think of the social events that we have over the course of a year?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the group does meet at noon. We do have our business meetings, but we also have our Christmas social. We have a Patty's Day social.
Oh boy.
And 2 summer socials where we get together, do different things, but it's not the business talk. It's how's life? How's everything going? It's fun. There's lots of value to those as well.
That's very cool. I appreciate it. So listen, let's talk about your own businesses right now, because I want to give you guys, as members of the association, taking your time to hang out with us, like what's going on with you, what projects are you super proud of that we can find out there that you may have touched, and what's coming up. I'll hand it over to you.
I think some of the things that have happened in the last year that's sort of changed since I started the business is I'm really leaning a lot more into storytelling through video and commercials specifically.
Right.
So a lot more clients have been reaching out, seeing the work that we've produced in the past, and we're able to leverage that and now take it forward by doing a lot more commercial productions for people. Super stoked on that. I think that's where we thrive in the storytelling. And on the topic of storytelling, we just released our second season of Health Explored, our documentary series, which is on Netflix, or it might be on Netflix. I'll tease that, but yeah, it's on NTV right now, 8 p.m. on Sundays. Super stoked on that.
Josh, when it comes to everything that you do with SonaPay, why don't you let us know how easy it is for us to get a quote or a chat on the go from you about how you can help us?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, SonaPay, what we do, we supply businesses with the options to accept credit cards, but we also now have one of the only all-in-one POS and payment devices in Canada.
Whoa.
So we can do inventory, order management, and accept the credit card on our white machines all at once. And we're local. Support is free and included with us. So we do a few things different than our competitors. Rates and fees is part of it. But yeah, we got the new payment devices, all-in-one POS. That's the latest and greatest from us.
If you have any information or any questions about how you would join the Business Association, please Google it. Check us all out, and we'll take care of you. Thanks so much for coming, boys.
Thank you.
As always.
See you at lunch. This is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break. Good evening, everybody. What are you at? Welcome back. We're having a wicked old show here tonight, and everyone else is great, but saving the best for last here, who knows? I mean, who's to say?
Bring it on.
Bringing it on, baby. Bob, how are you?
I'm number one. If I was any better, I'd be twins.
Wow. Triplets would freak me out altogether in that case. I want to start at the start. I'm sitting here to the right of what I would call Newfoundland rock royalty. I know you're humble. But I'll call it out for you. Great Big Sea, bye. Few people know who they are.
This is our 30th anniversary this year, and such is the state of disarray that we were unable to turn that into a money-making opportunity.
Sure.
But it's a significant event. That first album came out on the first gig was on March 11, 1993. Wow. The first album came out in around Regatta Day that summer. And to the world now, it was an elevator to the top, right?
Sure.
But it wasn't. It was sort of a zigzagging climb. But it's something that, every day somebody asks me about it, and the novelty of that is never entirely worn off. I was lucky to be there.
Yeah, for sure. And the legacy, say no more, and the memories, I'm sure. And so, that history in music and success forayed you into several amazing endeavors post that have really brought you to this incredible place when it comes to Terra Productions. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, when the band, it became obvious that the band couldn't kind of continue, you know, there was lots of music ideas. What are you going to do? And one of the things I didn't want to do was start another band. You know, having played in a band that was so good and so great and accomplished so much, the desire for me to drag a bunch of guys into a van and bung around Canada and kind of, come on guys, we got to go, it's time for the lobby. And I just couldn't face that, you know. And so I thought, okay, what else can I do with this skill set? You know, I was a guy in Great Big City who went to all the meetings, so, you know, and read everything and thought about it. So I had a lot of experience on the business side of, you know, the music industry. I also was interested. And so I moved in, I did some management, I did some promotion, and then gradually musical theater, which was not a passion of mine. You know, I wasn't some kid hanging around the drama classroom in high school, you know, yearning to be in a chorus line. But I got it, you know. My wife was a huge fan, we went to see musicals, and I understood the form. And gradually looked like, this is where the money is, you know, this is where the opportunity is. This is where great work is being done for a lot of people. And so I started thinking about that. I went to work with the Junkyard Dog Company as a consultant. We're making Come From Away, and of course that, you know, that went to the moon. And from there I went to work at Stratford for a while at the theater festival there. And you know, then the opportunity came along to join Terra. It was a new company starting out, big dreams, big ambitions, but that's who I am, you know. You know, I play the button accordion and the tin whistle and the mandolin and things like that. That's not the road to rock stardom. So I was used to the, you know, the hard climb and the rocky road. And Terra had the ambition and the energy to match my own. And I've been lucky enough to, you know, go along for what's been a really incredible ride.
So talk to me about how dynamic this brand is and what it offers.
Well, we wanted to do musicals, and we wanted to do it at a large scale, at a national and international level. And we had a bunch of ideas and a bunch of projects in various stages, but it became obvious if we wanted to do that, you know, if we wanted to go on stage in Toronto or New York or London, you know, if we wanted to shoot for the stars, then we needed a farm team, you know, to use a sports analogy. You know, the Toronto Maple Leafs don't, you know, train their guys in the Scotia Centre in front of the Canadians. You know, they start small and grow.
That's right.
And we knew that in St. John's we had this amazing opportunity. We had the talent, we had the ideas, we had the musicians, we had the actors, who frankly were underutilized. You know, this incredibly trained, incredibly talented, dedicated group of artists who weren't really playing at their level, you know, the level they wanted to. So we thought, okay, this is a match here. So over the, you know, the COVID years and since, we built up this production studio on Mayor Avenue, which is now a huge rehearsal and recording facility. And then the opportunity to buy the Majestic came along, and then it was sort of, okay, if we're going to do this, we need a theater. This is going to be really complicated and cost a ton of money, and it's going to, you know, break our hearts. But if we get this right, this is going to transform downtown St. John's. And, you know, seeing that sign light up a couple of weeks ago on New Gower Street, I think was, for all of us in the company, but also for the people who walk past it every day, was transformative.
It's unbelievable, and so, you know, we'll tip our hats in this moment to the incredible Judd Haynes for his work on that logo, and so beautiful. And to your point, it just reminds us of black and white photos that we used to see back when the downtown was truly based around Theatre Hill as a home base, before City Hall and before Theatre Hill was the place where people in our little town would congregate to march out to riot from, to come together in town hall format to discuss the goings on in the arts district. And now what you have done to and for the Majestic is pretty unbelievable. Would you agree?
Well, you think about St. John's when it had half the population it does now, but that 50,000 people all live within a 10-minute walk of the harbor.
Exactly.
And the reality is, in downtown St. John's in 1945, there were 6 cinemas that were doing multiple shows a day. Wow. And, you know, the Majestic in its heyday held almost 800 people, which is inconceivable to me, even standing in the building going, where did they put them? But people must have been smaller, you know, and thinner. But the reality is that building was built to be the focal point of entertainment in this city.
Exactly.
And to have an opportunity to restore it to some of that glory has been incredible.
I mean, truly, it always has been the People's Theater. It is the first place for performance in our city, one of the first. And the future, what can we expect if we walk through those double doors? Paint the picture for us.
Well, we wanted it to be an immersive experience. So when you walk off the sidewalk, you're putting your day, your troubles, your problems, you're putting your life behind you and going somewhere else to do something else for a night. So we really focused, once you go through those doors, the theater experience begins. Our motto is everybody's in the show. whether you're pouring up a coffee or drink, whether you're on stage pouring your heart out, whether you're cleaning it up at the end of the night, the guest experience has to be total. Everyone's got to forget what they did and think about where they are. So we really focused on creating a coherent building that had nice flow, and where, you know, the experience for the customer was amazing, where it looked good, you could see everything, it sounded good, the seat was comfortable, no one was sitting on top of you, you didn't have to step on anybody. All those little things that make going out irritating, we try to remove. And so that when you go into the Majestic, regardless of the kind of entertainment, we're set up for cinema, we're set up for comedy, we're set up for live music, and of course drama and musical theater. Once you go into that room, you're going to be entertained, and it's going to be a special night.
Saying stand and deliver, furry, we're a bold deceiver. A must-a-ring, a-ma-doo, da-ma-da. A must-a-ring, a-ma-doo, da-ma-da. Whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar.
Wild Rovers was hilarious. If you have not seen it, check it out. And if you're too late to see it, then it's playing in Toronto, so get on the plane and head up. And Let's Dance, the first production that came out in this year, toured in Halifax, St. John's, and Toronto. So I'll just land this. We're in our final moment. Terra, an incredible performance company that is giving so many of our artists a place to hone their craft and take the world by storm. We have Theatre Hill, Cafe and Bar, Epicurean Delights, gorgeous place in there, renovated to the T. The Majestic, we know. We have Moth Recording Studio. What's next for Terra? I'll leave this to you to finish.
We have 7 shows. After the Wild Rovers, we have one called The Hymnal. We have another one that's based around the greatest hits of the operas. We have exclusive rights to Gordon Lightfoot's music, which is going to be the most amazing musical Canada's ever seen. Oh my God. We're just getting started, old man, so stay tuned.
Well, I will. Guys, I want you to stay tuned. Check out Terra, check out Theatre Hill, the Majestic Theatre. Check it all out, because there's more coming. This is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I want to thank Bob Davis from VOWR on behalf of all the volunteers.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
The regulars, the guys who keep this place in business. Last week, they had something to celebrate. Jason had just finished university.